В бой!
Hey guys, this is 007 here. I'm here to be looking at one of my replays. This was a replay with Cody's Universe. We are in Tier 5 preferential Russian heavy tanks. Basically out on a mission to club all before us. And boy was it not disappointing. But basically you can see that I'm in the Churchill 3. It's probably the most common Tier 5 Russian preferential that you'll probably see. KV-220 is a bit more rare. Cody, I don't know how long he's had his, but I've had this Churchill 3 for about, I'd probably say about 8-9 months. Playing it here and there. It's a really good tank. It's really good balance. Problem is the balance comes at a cost with these tanks. Is he gets overbearing armor that just absolutely just the enemy cannot handle. Whilst I have, you know, rate of fire that can be not matched, probably not even by a Matilda. The nice thing about these tanks is they can really take the hits where they come from, and unfortunately, like this Type 58 in a second, he's gonna basically feel the heat from the grill. And you could argue that, you know, if he was using his mobility to hit, you probably get spotted, you know. But the more or less fact is, these tanks are going to take the hits, or other tier 6s, you know, other tier 5s cannot, you know, withstand the typical how these things can handle. These things are born for close engagements, born to take hits no matter how much it's thrown at them. Over here. This Coventry, they're throwing high explosives. I mean, I can't even penetrate Cody right now. Unfortunately, Grill took out his mate, so that'll be the end of Tito Mate's game. More or less, you can see right now, we have become the flank. After that Type 58, we are now the only two that are holding this position and basically advancing with it. And it's really rare for Russian heavy tanks like this to see a point where they can break through and cause havoc behind the enemy lines. And well, once you get that feeling, you basically can't let go of it, which could lead to our demise, or could correlate with our defeat that could be coming. And it could be up to that decision, but more or less the fact is we were going to have fun one way or another. And unfortunately that artillery doesn't have fun anymore. So you can really see this 57mm gun. It's AP rounds. 110 penetration, absolutely lighting up the place. Right there, we just took out 2 enemies quick fast. Not even a chance for them to react to us. The KV-220 gets a 76mm gun, which has, I believe, a 3 to 4 second reload, depending on what your parts stand. Generally, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't have relevant arms on this thing, and this thing feels overpowered. Matilda 4 is actually question for most people. I think that medium ability. This tank. This thing actually is faster than the Matilda 4. The Black Prince. So it actually makes it a better sweet suit to go to instead of going through Matilda 4, which is slower. It has more armor on paper, but if you correctly angle this Churchill 3, you will get a lot more armor than you would think. But KV-220, fortunately for its armor, it doesn't need to angle at all, basically. The only problem it has to worry about is its turret. That's where the penetration really suffers in this tank. You can see some rounds managed to penetrate, probably gold rounds. But it's, by the time you penetrate him, by the time that happens, he's going to be putting half your health away, then along with myself. And now you can really see the Churchill 3 just
Броня не пробита. Цель захвачена.
these
Броня не
tanks,
пробита.
it's just gonna cut
Не
them down
пробил. Цель понял.
like nothing.
Есть пробитие. Цель
See, I'm
захвачена.
letting go. That's
Готов.
justified for this situation. I just can't afford to let an opportunity go right through my fingers. Nice
Готов.
shot there. You can see the KV2. Tier 5, no, nothing. KV2's
Цель захвачена. Пробитие. Есть пробитие.
and
Есть попадание.
I think the Sherman actually
Уничтожен.
into KV2, but didn't penetrate. But we can also see right here, you know, it's been 2 uncapped. I don't know if you've looked closely enough at the cap situation, but our artillery managed to reset, which managed to buy us some time, but unfortunately it was just not enough time. It's just the one weakness of these tanks, you know, ended up bringing us to our defeat. And that lack of speed, you know, accounts for maybe arrogance in some certain situations, but that's all we can really do about it. And unfortunately, that's basically it for the story. Really impressive result, I like to say. Not really more of a personal result, but more for the platoon. Just being the 2-man army, staying alive, pushing through a flank, racing right around, and catching the enemies by the rear, and just absolutely lighting them up. Even if they're at full focus on us, we managed to basically stop all before us. Unfortunately, what ended up biting us in the ass was, unfortunately, our mobility. But that's the weakness of the tanks, and unfortunately you can't fight around that. I'm going to switch it over to the post-game stats so that you can see a better view of what exactly happened. Okay, so we have the post-game stats here. You can see we got a first class mastery badge, a bit unfortunate. I was trying to hope for an ace tanker. We got fire for effect, bruiser, and we managed to achieve a Bradley Walters with the Top Gun. If we move on, you can see that we got 8 kills, 956 damage, Cody doing 531 damage. Unfortunately, we were 6th on the entire, no, 7th in the entire game, achieving, unfortunately, under 1,000 damage. The enemy team, you know, points to them for managing to do all that damage and basically hold the line and basically, you know, hold us off long enough. I want to say hold us off, distract us long enough that we couldn't get back to the cap. Also, points to Cody for getting steel wall. He was taking all the hits the entire time. I was just sitting there shooting. So technically, I could have never gotten as far as I did without Cody pushing the flank and leading the charge with his shield. We can see our artillery managed to get a defender medal with a 83 defense points, which was fairly nice, but unfortunately it was just not enough. And we can see that we lost 13,000 credits here, even though this is a preferential tank, gets premium matchmaking, it makes premium money, but tier 5s don't exactly make as much money as the tier 8 equivalent would. But basically, you know, the biggest cost that we had to face was the ammunition for myself, firing all those APCR rounds. And the thing is, this gun just fires so fast that it's really hard to see, you know. I mean, I don't know if anyone has ever run out of ammunition with it. I don't know, but the stories, I wouldn't be surprised of how fast that thing fires. We can see that we got 34 rounds off. That was pretty fast for just 6 minutes and 22 seconds that the battle happened. Even though, you know, our engagement was kind of limited due to the fact that we were fighting a limited amount of vehicles at one point. We see we received 1 hit. Unfortunately, it penetrated, but 1 hit. So what? It's a Russian heavy tank. We just really smashed the lines there. 16 penetrations. You know, that's impressive for that 57mm gun. Not the same 57 that the MT-25 and the T-34 get to wield. Additionally, the KV-1, but this gun seems to do fine by itself. Nothing else on top of that. This vehicle just really held its own. But, I mean, individually, looking at the Churchill 3, it's a good tank. Individually looking at the KV-220, it's a great tank. But when you combine, these tanks with their qualities together, you just have an unstoppable force. Just absolutely can wipe all before it off the map. And I think that's what's truly amazing about this game is mixing and matching these tanks can really make the difference between a sealed victory or just barely pulling off the victory or falling with a defeat. And I'd be terrified to find out what the third Russian heavy tank would have done. We could have probably went head on, took on everyone else, and still pulled it off. Unfortunate though that our chance to win, we should have been able to win 61%, and we probably could have easily handled those two other tanks, even though they probably had health advantage, or actually no, they would have probably struggled with us, even though we were at full health, and we could have probably easily taken them down in the time that it could have taken them to take us down. But unfortunately, they didn't fight us, so we never really got to find out what happened. More or less on this, I'd like to probably pull more replays out of this and try and see how much more can you bring out with 3 overpowered, tier 5 heavy tanks. I mean, yes, the overpowered factor, is a bit unfair, fighting people that are not exactly new to the game, but you gotta have that epic surrounding and that epic game. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. But, yeah. So, honestly, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Do you think that, tier 5 heavy tanks were more effective, preferential, or tier 5 preferential light, medium tanks? Do you think they bring more to the table than the heavy tanks can? I personally struggle to think what could be better than this, but you guys probably have more experience and more, shots at what the ideal game is. The ideal seal clubbing match, I should say. So, comment section, answer up anything, seal clubbing tanks. I'd like to try and avoid the obvious ones like the E-25. T-14s I'd probably count. Those are definitely great in numbers. But, yeah, you guys list them off. And with that, I'll sign off and see you guys later.